You're right, we're not hearing a lot about these prisoners. We will honor some of the families who don't want names public, but we mentioned that the numbers are perhaps even higher than what's being publicly reported. Why? Why isn't it being discussed more? Is there a risk right now in making it an issue? That's often the argument you hear from diplomats. You increase the price on the head of an American if you amplify that they're important. Why do you think it's important right now to say that they matter?
Because I and my friend sitting next to me were on those floors, in those cells. We understand what it means when people in your country know about you, that your case is important enough for people in the State Department to talk about. It gives you hope. Mm-hmm. You go to bed a little easier, you wake up a little lighter. You know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The worst thing that can happen to you is that nobody talks about you. That is a horrible feeling. You really feel lost in the universe.
Siamak, you were, I believe, the longest held American prisoner to have been released from Iran. 8 years.
Not that the world title you'd hope for, is it?
No, I'm glad that you have a sense of humor about it. I guess you have to get through that.
Yes, but right now let's focus on those who are in there. We're thankfully out. Mm-hmm. And I want to echo what Emad says. It's really surreal to be sitting here. I think 4 years ago or 3 years ago to the mark, there was someone who had snuck in a cell phone and let us borrow it to see your program. And I think you were talking with Emad's daughters and his wife, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And I remember telling Emad, I'm so proud of your girls for getting so good at this. I'm sorry that, this is what it took, but it's extremely important to give people hope. But beyond hope, it's also the policymakers on this side. There's so much going on in Iran, and especially with this war. All U.S. presidents, I think every single one of them would want to get American detainees out. And I think this particular president takes pride in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's even aware that we have at least 6, and I would challenge the 4 number, at least 6, probably more, because there's a lot of people who don't want their cases mentioned, even to the State Department. And we need to get the word out to give them hope. As I said, being forgotten is the biggest fear. Today, probably rivaled with the fear of bombs dropping on them or the regime taking out the fact that they can't do anything about the bomb on mm-hmm. these guys. But we need to put pressure on the policymakers here to remind them we have Americans in harm's way solely for holding a blue passport, and we need to bring them home. I think one thing I should emphasize is, I know it's wartime. I know, what else are we going to do to Iran? What are we going to threaten them with? Or, there's no...
They're incredibly sanctioned.
True, but, they're getting bombed. There's nothing else. Yeah. They're getting really bombed. But all wars end in diplomacy, either direct or indirect. And so what I would like to see, and what I hope for the programs like this could encourage, is to make sure that it is a real priority to get out our people mm-hmm. at the first chance there is for diplomacy and negotiations with Iran.